So I'm just departing Cacabosso. I have no idea how many days I've been walking, to be honest. I don't keep track. I think it's a Wednesday. In the guidebooks, this is said to be one of the nicest parts of the route. So I'm looking forward to this, and we go to the Roman Arch after about 20 k's or so. So I'm looking forward to today. Oh, look at this glorious day. I'm only about an hour out of Cacabosso, heading towards the Roman Arch. And I've had my first Camino Angel experience. A farmer, oh look at the moon up there. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see that. A farmer pulled up on his motorbike, rattling off machine gun Spanish, which I couldn't understand. So I got my translator app out. And he said, oh, this way's got lots of turns, go the other way. And we've got to be a little bit wary with locals' directions, because, you know, it might be a good route for them to use on their motorbike or in their car or something. So I said to him, you know, which way's quicker? And he said, go that way, which is this one, coming up over the hill. It's a nice route. And I checked on my Maps.me just to make sure, you know, again, double check. This road does connect with the Camino, it just avoids a lot of the twists and turns, so I'll give it a go. He seemed like a nice guy, trying to be helpful. Today I'm walking on my own, which is nice. I mean, not that it's not nice walking with other people, but my Achilles is playing up a little bit, so it gives me a chance to go nice and slow and sort of try and nurse that along a bit. And we get to see the Roman Arch today, that'll be cool. I just thought I'd share, I hope these videos aren't too bouncy, but I don't want to keep stopping, so forgive me for walking and talking. We had an interesting discussion over breakfast this morning. Well, it's actually been an ongoing discussion for the last few days about backpack weight. And if you haven't walked a Camino before and you're thinking of walking one, or particularly if you're thinking of walking this one, the VdlP, really think hard about your backpack weight. We're all agonizing over, you know, how can we reduce the weight? How can we reduce the weight? And you might be thinking, well, you know, why is that? What's different? Again, it comes back to the fact that the VdlP is a little bit different, you know, than some of those routes with better infrastructure, because, you know, today I'm carrying 2.5 litres of water, 2.5 kilos extra, and my heels are complaining. But it's going to be pretty warm. I've got to go over 20 k's in the heat. I need that. So do take that sort of thing into account when you're going through your packing lists, you know, because we all tend to do very detailed packing lists, and then it's, you know, my pack will be 7 kilos plus food and water. Well, on this one, you know, your water is probably going to be at least 2 litres, 2 kilos. I'm learning not to carry too much food. It's just too heavy and I don't need it. So I have a good breakfast. I have a, you know, platos combinados or something like that for lunch when I arrive at my destination. And evenings tends to be just, you know, a bit of fruit and a yogurt or something. But I'm learning not to carry too much food whilst I'm walking. I started out, you know, with making up bread rolls of sardines and all sorts of things, but I find just I carry a banana generally, and a bag of peanuts and raisin mix, and maybe a little bar of chocolate. You know, that's plenty to get me through the day, and often don't eat all of it. So backpack weight on a Camino like this, you really need to obsess over it and get it as light as possible. I put mine on the scales in a pharmacy the other day, and it was 9.5, and I had, I think there was a litre of water on there. You know, which means my my pack, less food and water, is probably 8 kilos. That's, you know, I'd much rather have 6. 6 would be a great weight for this Camino. And lots of people manage it. You see people with really quite small backpacks. And you get some with very huge backpacks too. My roomie last night, I didn't lift his bag, but gee, it looks huge. I'd say he's up around 12 kilos at least, but he's a big guy. So yeah, that's the message for today. When you're putting your packing list together, be ruthless. I went through my stuff again last night. I laid it all out on the bed. What can I get rid of? And I couldn't honestly find much. I pulled out a few little things like gaiters and stuff like that and just left them in the room, but I couldn't reduce by much. It's because I've got bloody rollers and knee straps and all sorts of things. That's the problem. Okay, back to the walk, folks. This is really cool scenery. Got the wind farm up there. We saw lots of wind turbines yesterday, but they weren't operating. Lovely landscape, isn't it? Cattle over there. Lots of cattle and sheep everywhere. Gee, it's going to be warming up today, I think. The forecast was only about 20 degrees, but this is feeling like it's going to be more. Oh, just continuing my obsession about pack weight. An interesting tip here. I stopped back down the hill there just to have a drink, and I was distributing the weight a little bit different today. I got a tip from another pilgrim yesterday. He carries one bottle of Aquarius, which is like Gatorade or those sort of products, and one bottle of water, and alternates between the two. I thought that's great, and I had my water bottle on the front here like normal, and the Aquarius bottle was in the side pouch of my pack. Long story, but I've been having a problem with the clip on the other side here. When I stopped to have a drink, I put the Aquarius bottle on the front as well, and I fixed the clip. The difference in the distribution of the pack weight is very noticeable. It's a lot more comfortable now. So I know I keep saying it, putting the water bottles on the front is not the best look, but in terms of weight distribution, it works really well. It's like having an arm pack with balance pockets on the front. So it's yeah, everything just sits a lot more comfortably. Oh, funny, that shortcut I took that the farmer gave me worked out really well. I was curious to see if I would overtake anyone. And there's a German lady who overtook me. She walks really fast, just coming out of Cocobosso. And I got in front of her with a shortcut. She's a bit puzzled. How did you get here? So, the Camino Angel gave me a shortcut. But now she's gone on ahead. I've got a bit of a climb here. Good thing about climbs is that generally you get an awesome view from the top. I wonder how far away we can see the Roman arch from. Let's get on with the climb. I think this sort of countryside is what they call the Hesa. It's great, isn't it? It's like a little natural wonderland. And these rock formations. This is such a glorious landscape. I was just noticing the track that I'm walking on. There's you come across quite a few like this, and it's probably an indication that you don't get huge numbers of pilgrims walking this route. It's just a tiny little goat track. Sometimes they can be a little bit rocky and ankle twisting. This one's nice. It's just a bit of sand. But you know, you can imagine if there was hundreds of pilgrims walking this route, it would be well trampled. But this isn't. How many pilgrims have I seen today? I've seen Javier, Kira. Anyone else? No, only two. And they're up ahead. And might be one or two coming up behind. This is one of these tricky stages though. You get to recognise the footprints. This is one of these tricky stages because it was, I think, 11 k's on the road from Galisteo to Cappara, and then it's about 20 to the Roman Arch at, what do they call it, Arco de Cáparra, something. And then that's this sort of weird stage where you can arrange with the Hostal Asturias to come and pick you up, and then they drop you back the next day. There's a few stages like that we're coming across, which are really quite awkward. You know, you either have to do a short day, 10 or 12, or you're going to do, you know, what could be a long day for you, 32, 35. And because the sort of towns and villages are fairly stretched out, sometimes it's a really difficult call to make. So I've actually planned a few really short days, like about 10 Ks, so that the following day I can do a manageable 20, for example. I'm starting to think that I might try and push some longer distances, because I've been walking over 2 weeks now. I'm getting stronger. Touch wood, let me just touch this tree. Touch wood, I don't have any foot problems. Certainly no blisters, but tendons seem to be holding up. So I'd be interested to try some longer ones, kind of just see if I can do it. It's just a 10k day. Seems almost a waste of a day, you know, because at my speed I'll be there in 2.5, 3 hours. And kind of what do you do for the rest of the day? If it wasn't so hot, I'd actually be doing lots of picnicking and, you know, gazing at the sky and talking to the cows. But because it's unseasonally hot, I don't want to sort of finish my day in the hot part of the day. So I was just working out the distances to Arco de Cáparra, even at my slow pace, and scheduling a couple of sort of snack breaks. I should be there by about 2, so just before the real hot part of the day. And I'll have probably a couple of hours before the scheduled pickup. Oh, that's alright, I can chill out. I think there's a little, I was going to say canteen, there's an information centre there with vending machines or something, but I've got plenty with me anyway. So this is the way. Quite a few gates today. Of course, you've got to be really careful. Most of the gates have got kind of 2 locking mechanisms. You've got to make sure you lock those well behind you. One of the owners of a hostel a couple of days ago was telling us, and if you know this route, there's an alternative route just back away through Villalobos. And the reason that route was put in a few years ago is one of the farmers complained about pilgrims crossing his land, and I imagine it was because they weren't closing the gates or they were leaving, you know, all kinds of rubbish on his land. And for about 5 years, the Spanish Camino Association put in place that diversion through Rio Lobos. It's all good now, so back to the original route. But I think it's, you know, a good lesson to remind us all to make sure we close the gates and respect the farmer's land for letting us come through here. Now, what I wanted to show you is this. These mojones, these little markers, are great. There's lots of, well, quite a few of them, and they're sort of strategically placed so you can sit on them. Because, you know, you've got no coffee shops or anything, so I'm just going to have a seat. And the decision always on, for me, is what to eat next. I want to eat something that's heavy and nutritious, so I'm going to have a banana and I've got some nuts, because I've got good at least 2 hours to go. So I've arrived at one of the alternate route turnoffs. I'm just under 7 k's from the Roman Arch. Just let this car go past. And I have arrived at the Finca Ventacamara, which is marked on the Gonza map. So if I want to go to the Roman Arch, I go straight ahead. If I want to go to the alternate, oh, there's a lot of traffic, then I go right to Oliva de Placentia. Well, it looks like you're walking on the road to me. So it's like a triangle, 6 k's up there to an alternate spot to stay, Oliva de Placentia, or you go straight on there to the arch for 6 k's. If you go that way, on the far side of the triangle, it's 6 k's back to the arch. So you can imagine this is the baseline of the triangle from here to the arch, and then you've got the 2 sides of the triangle going up to Oliva de Placentia, if that makes sense. I'm going to take a quick break here and then do my final stretch to the arch. So I've completed the base of the triangle, almost at the Roman arch now, and this is the other side of the triangle that leads to Via de Placentia. So if you remember, that's the base of the triangle, and then Via de la Placentia is kind of the apex. That's about 6 k's up there, and then we've got about 800 metres to go to the arch. Oh, I'll be glad of that. Well, and here is the arch. I'll get to the information centre in a second and find out more about it. But that was the objective, the end point of today. There's a whole sort of archaeological site here, which is interesting. I'll find out more about that in a second. A few pilgrims wandering about that I've seen along the way. Very cool. Interesting, as you walk through the arch, it's actually a 4-way arch, if you know what I mean. I'll get up to the visitor centre in a second. I'll find out how old it is and all that stuff. Oh, I wonder if we're going over those mountains at some point. So it seems that Cappara was established in the 1st century. Initially it was a local town and then given Roman status, and all the construction was improved, that arch was put in, and it was a fairly sizable site. Quite impressive. Unfortunately, the information centre is closed for siesta. Never mind. I've got a couple of hours to wait for my pickup, and it's just starting to rain. Welcome to the Camino.